Let's take a round of applause to welcome Rabbi Tovia Singer.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me, and I am deeply grateful to those who put this program together, mamish within 24 hours. I am not supposed to be in the United States right now. I live in Yerushalayim, and I was with my father just about 2 weeks ago, who was struggling with an illness. He's my rock. He's the love of my life. I went back to Yerushalayim only to open my WhatsApp after Shabbos was over, and my sister, who wrote to me from America, long after Shabbos began in Eretz Yisrael, she said, "Tovia, come back." My father's health had taken a turn. Shabbos was over at 8:15 in Yerushalayim. I went on El Al's website, and there was a seat for a 1 a.m. flight to Newark. I kind of thought growing up, my dad had 4 kids, me and 3 sisters. I didn't really fully grasp that my father has not 4 children, but thousands of children. And he brought Torah to America during a very challenging time. He's really a Rabbin Shel Yisrael. And I say this to you, my dear brothers and sisters. Don't take this lightly. Please pray for him. His name, my father's name, he should be well, is Shlomo Zalman ben Leah HaKohen. Every day is a miracle. That's why I'm here, to be with my daddy. Shlomo Zalman ben Leah HaKohen. I was named after his grandfather, who was murdered in the Holocaust in 1944. He should be well.
Amen.
Okay, got past that. This is a very remarkable day for me. It just happens to be that going back to the late 2018, I was asked to debate a Christian in Israel. At the time, I was serving as a Rav and really getting Jews out of the church in Indonesia. That's where I've been living. I know what you're thinking. Yes, there are Jews in Indonesia. So let's get that out of the door. How many? There are 3 and they're hiding. But Indonesia is the 4th largest country in the world. Okay. And as it turns out, it's the largest Muslim country in the world. It is. And it's the only country I've ever been that I never experienced anti-Semitism. they treated me like royalty. They really treated me very well, very, very respectfully. And because it's a majority Muslim country, they were very, very happy to have me bringing Jews out of the church. Because although there's only 240 million Muslims in Indonesia, there are something like 35 million Christians there. How many Jews are there? We don't know exactly. But many, many Jewish people in Indonesia turned back to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They've come home. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the God of Israel, is keeping his promise because V'gam Netzach Yisrael lo yishaker, because the glory of Israel never lies. He doesn't change his mind. Ki lo yodem hu li nochem. He's not a man. He'll never change his mind. 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 29. He's bringing him home. See Isaiah chapter 43. I'm going to find you in the furthest most islands. I'm going to bring my sons from abroad and my daughters from the furthest most islands, and I'm going to bring you home. And we're observing this spectacle today. And sometimes our enemies rise up against us, and we have no shortage of them. And their purpose is to destroy us. They rise up against us to destroy Klal Yisrael, but they got one problem. Our enemies have a problem. And that is the God of Israel made a promise. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu keeps a promise. So in fact, our enemies, as the Navi says in Isaiah chapter 8, Utsu Eitza, the Sufa. Let them come up with a plan, but it will come to naught. Can't be. Dabru Davar, let them come up with a plan. They'll talk. V'loi Yakum. It will not be established. Why? Logically, we shouldn't be here. Ki imanu kel, because the God of Israel is with us. And if you pray before the God of Israel, if you bow before the God of Israel, you fear no one. HaKadosh Baruch Hu made a promise that we're an eternal nation. You'll be able to walk through the flames and the waters, and nothing will harm you. I will bring you home. I will find you, and I'll bring you back from the furthest most islands. See Isaiah 43, verse 6 and 7. Atem eidei Enom Hashem. You are my witness, declares the Lord. Avdi, my servant, Asher bacharti, whom I have chosen, so that you should know, believe, and understand that I am God. And besides me, there is no other Savior. No one before me, no one after me. Let them hear that in the Vatican. Let them hear that in Jews for Jesus. Let them hear that in Chosen People Ministries. Let it be heard around the world. And we're living in a remarkable time. I came to Eretz Yisrael in 2018 to debate a Christian at the King Solomon Hotel. You can watch it on YouTube. There were thousands, there were a lot of people there. I don't know how many were there. It was packed. And after the debate was done, a lot of people came over to me. That's what happens. After a lecture or a debate, people come over to me. You'll see tonight, you'll see what happens. And all these Jews, Nebuch, who were caught in the Messianic movement in Israel, were being dragged by their friends to see me, to meet me. I was astonished what I saw. I knew it was bad in Israel. I just didn't know it was a stage 4. And for those who don't know, there is no such thing as a stage 5. It's a nightmare in Israel. And I realized immediately that I could no longer stay in Indonesia, and I had to come to Eretz Yisrael to bring the Jews home, to get them out of the church. And I made that decision, and I made Aliyah today exactly 5 years ago. 5 years ago, El Al Flight 002 landed in Eretz Yisrael. Landed today, 5 years ago. It's so different when you're becoming a citizen. They welcome you. They brought me into a room. Imagine you're coming to Eretz Yisrael, and you're now a citizen of Israel. Such a zechus. So many mitzvahs you could be Makayim in Eretz Yisrael. You understand that? I know you're in Brooklyn, so don't be angry at me. But you know, when Moshe Rabbeinu, Olav HaShalom, when Moses, our teacher of blessed memory, when he asked HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he cried out to Hashem that he should only be able to go over the Jordan. Yeshua can lead the nation, but let me go. Frank the Gemara, why did Moshe Rabbeinu want to go to Eretz Yisrael so much? Why? Did he want to go to the Kinneret to put his feet in the water? No, he wasn't interested in that. But there's so many mitzvahs in Eretz Yisrael, he wanted to be Makayim. Listen up, Kindle. There's so many mitzvahs in Eretz Yisrael, you can't be Makayim here in Brooklyn. You can't. You can practice Judaism here. You can. But you can only live it there. I'm telling you the truth. It's time to come home. Half of the known Jews in the world are now in Eretz Yisrael. The God of Israel is keeping his promise. But our enemies are very aware of this, both our enemies who want to destroy us physically. October 6th, we went to bed Friday night. It was Simchas Torah. It was Jerusalem does not get that many sirens for rocket attacks. Generally, they don't shoot at Yerushalayim. There's too many goyim there. So it's for them, they're not sure what's going to happen. They usually go where there's not so many. Ooh, when those sirens were going off on Simchas Torah morning, it was something terribly not right. It was terrible. So what happened after that was, I don't have to tell you. Right now, as we're speaking, more than 100 of our brothers and sisters are not in Yerushalayim. They're 60 miles southwest of Yerushalayim. They're in a dark tunnel, a dark house, and they're terrified. Our hearts are with them. They should only come home soon, now. Now. So that's one enemy we have. They want to destroy us physically. They want to destroy Eretz Yisrael. Want every Jew in Eretz Yisrael dead. That's what they want. That's what they want. I can tell you, I'm not sure, I can't explain what happened. My guess is that none of us can right now. But I will tell you this, my holy brothers and sisters, the people we were, all of us, on October 6th, do not exist any longer. We're a different nation today. None of us are the same. None of us will ever be the same. The Gemara Megillah tells us that Mechemes Gog uMagog will begin on Sukkot. In fact, for that reason, the Gemara, Daf Lamed Aleph, says that on Sukkot, on Shabbos, Chol Hamoed Sukkot, we specifically read from Ezekiel 38 and 39, which is Mechemes Gog uMagog. Which does what? I'll tell you what it does. No one's fighting over a mechitza on the streets of Tel Aviv anymore. No one's going to court in Israel over building a sukkah. That's all gone. People may disagree on how to approach the matzav. So that's one enemy we have. But Yerushalayim is very quiet. As far as those who want to destroy us physically, it's fairly quiet. Quieter than Brooklyn, I assure you. But we have another enemy. And they want to destroy us spiritually. They want to take you away, chas v'chalila, from the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And they're targeting you for conversion. In the old days, it was very hard for the church to convert Jews. Why? Because Jewish people generally did not want to convert to another religion, generally. I'm not talking about you, a religious Jew. Even Jews who are not so religious. They would say, I don't want to be a Christian. I was born a Jew, I'll die a Jew. Jews are generally proud of their identity. Jews generally, even those who don't belong to this synagogue or any synagogue, Jews are proud. They're proud to be a Jew. They're so proud to be a Jew. I'm a Jew. I don't want to stop being Jewish. This comes as a surprise to rabbis, but Jews are very proud of their Jewish identity. Jews for Jesus recognize this. The Baptist Church understood this. The Assemblies of God, the fastest growing Protestant denomination in America, grasped this. In the early 70s, they had to rethink how Jews need to be converted. Why early 70s? Listen carefully. In 1972, 5 years earlier, Yerushalayim was liberated. 5 years earlier, Yerushalayim was liberated. A little boy, I remember it. They were dancing on the streets of Brooklyn. Dancing, you can't even imagine. You can't even imagine what happened. Prophecy, mamash, unfolded. So they realized that Yerushalayim, Jewish people, before Mashiach comes, must return back to Yerushalayim, must be in Jerusalem, and then nations go to war against Yerushalayim. We have entire chapters on Tanakh that explain that the Jewish people must return back to Israel before Mashiach comes and have an army. They'll be weak, but Hashem will make the weakest of them will be like David, even like the angel of the Lord of hosts, Zechariah chapter 12, verse 7 and 8. As kol hagoyim haboim al Yerushalayim. In those days, I will destroy all the nations who come up against Yerushalayim. But there's a terrible murder, a terrible killing in Eretz Yisrael that causes the nation to start to mourn, and that unites a nation, and that triggers the coming of Mashiach. We are here. Why? I don't know. Why not your great-great-grandfather? Your Elta Zaydi, your Saba Rabba was back in Persia, was back in Iraq, was back in Russia. He was a tzaddik. How come you're here and not him? I don't know. But it's according to God's plan and his knowledge. But our enemies know it. Our enemies are aware of it. And they're here. And they want to convert the Jews. They figure that the second coming of Jesus, every fake religion needs second comings. Always know it. Every fake religion needs a second coming. Yeah, second coming, a fake religion. Why? Because it didn't happen. It didn't happen, a second coming. As I get this. And I speak Yiddish for all the Persian Jews here to make sure they're in on it. Because I know, you have to know who your audience is. So I have to know. I have Jews from the East, from Persia, from there. You have to speak Yiddish, or they won't know what's going on in this whole program. Are these jokes too complicated for this section here? I could slow it down. They realize that the church faces a problem in evangelizing Jews. The first problem they realized was that Jews are proud to be Jewish, and they don't want to change their identity. So they said, came with the idea that if you become a believer in you know who, you're not converting to another religion. No, you're becoming a complete Jew, a fulfilled Jew. It's the most Jewish thing you could do. You've got here in your backyard, Chosen People Ministries. They're right here in Brooklyn. They're right here. Come on, Walker. You can catch Meyer if there. I'm kidding, you cannot. It's a Baptist Smith. They took over a funeral home. I'm not kidding. I'm not joking. It's mamish very close there. And they're here. Why are they here? They're here. Why did they go to Antarctica? You know why. They came here because this is where it is. More than half of the Jews in the United States live in the greater New York area, by far. There are more Jews who live in New York than in any other city in the world, by far. It's not even close. So they're here. So number one, you're not converting to another religion. Oh no, you become a Messianic Jew, a completed Jew. It's the most Jewish thing you could do. There's nothing more Jewish than, why? The other problem the church realized is it had a public relations problem, a PR problem with Jews. The church realized that things didn't go well for 1900 years. It was hard to convert Jews. The hardest people to convert are Jews, which is crazy for them. Why are they so obstinate? Why are they so stiff? Why we can't baptize them? Why is it so difficult? So they realize that they have another problem, and that is that the church has a a PR problem, a public relations problem. What problem do they have? What PR problem could the church have with Jews? Listen up. The problem goes like this. Most Jews, for some reason, tend to equate Christianity with persecution. I have no idea. They figured out that for some reason, Jewish people, when they see a cross, when Jewish people hear the words Jesus Christ, most Jews do not say, what am I chayav to hear those words? Say it again, I want to get more nachas. This is the best thing I've ever heard of. Most Jews, it's enough, right? And we know it, we see it, we notice it. If you're in the airport, let's say you're in Kennedy, right? You're at the airport, right? You're standing by what gate you're there, and you see there's a galach, there's a priest, a nun, right? You always notice her. You see a priest with the collar, you always give a look. Quick, give a look at him. Give a look at this priest. I wonder what he's thinking right now. We always notice the priests. Why? And we look at them. Give a look. I wonder if he knows that I'm looking at him right now. Right? Why? You know, it's interesting. In New York City, it's a very interesting thing because New York, in Manhattan, the property, real estate is so expensive that unlike any other place, the churches are right up to the sidewalk. You know, it's not like somewhere up in Pennsylvania where you need binoculars and 6 telescopes to see what's going on inside. Here, the church is mamish right there on the sidewalk. And suddenly the doors are wide open, right? And you can give a look. And most Jews don't want to look. When we look inside, you give a look what's going on, baruch, what's going on inside. Most Jews are very uncomfortable. Why? Because it reminds us of persecution. It reminds us of very, very bad times. That's what we do. If we see in the airport a Hare Krishna, a guy wearing orange pajamas with a shaved head, with the hair coming out of the middle of his head with a tambourine. So every Jew says the same thing. That poor mother. But it's not offensive. We're just, hey, what happened to this boy? Whatever happened. But when it comes, we see it. So the church understood they had a big problem, a public relations problem. Why? Because all the church fathers hated us. They all cursed us. All the reformers they all hated us. And why do they hate us? Because they're rational. They're logical. Thank goodness Christians don't read their Bible. Their Bible is so anti-Semitic that every Christian who's nice to you should think of 500 times for not reading the New Testament. If they would read what it says there, they would forget to all be wearing pillowcases over their heads. It's a nightmare. So they realize they have to deal with this, and it goes like this. You're Jewish? Are you Jewish? We love you. Ha ha ha. Are you a Jew? Baruch Hashem. We love the Jews. This is how they do it. We love Jews so much. We used to love, but now we love so much. We love Jews. A Jew is the best thing we ever had for dinner. They love Jews. It's crazy. We love Jews, and they're pro-Israel. All the missionaries who are targeting Jews for conversion are all Zionists. All of them are. All of them are. I'm not going to go into history. If you'll ask me the questions how it developed, but in the 19th century, in America, there was a new iteration of Christianity that exploded, that was very popular in America. It was actually a British fellow who came to the United States with a new idea, and that is that the Jews are chosen and they've not been rejected by God. This is a chiddush gadol v'noira in the church. And he started a whole movement. And in America, they were very pro-Jewish. Meaning compared to Europe, you know, it's not such a standard, not a bar to be. But in America, you know, we had the founding fathers, you know, Hamilton was very pro-Jewish. Even some scholars argue he mamish was Jewish. It's a question whether his mother converted to Judaism before. But he went to yeshiva in the Caribbean. I mean, these guys really like Jews. I'm not going to go, it's not important. But what happened was there was a Christian Zionism in America that was exploding already in the early 20th century. So these Messianics were able to go, we're not like those guys. We love you, and we love Israel too. And that's why there's a problem in Israel. It's so serious, because in Israel, there's a phenomena that occurs that doesn't happen here so much. And here in America, or in any country besides Eretz Israel, a synagogue, a rabbi, is not going to have a relationship with a church. what relationship could a young Israel have, or a Temple Emmanuel, or whatever, is going to have with some Christian? Nothing. They have nothing to do with each other. But in Israel, everybody understands that the evangelical Christians are the only friends Israel has, and therefore they make relationships and relationships, and together we love, together we worship the same God, and the Christians get in the system, and this government loves them. They love them. And the more that Washington is anti-Israel, the more the heat is turned up against Israel in America's capital, the more they realize that there are 75 million Americans, it's like 1 out of 5 Americans, that's mamish a Christian Zionist that loves Israel. And when I say loves Israel, they love all of Israel. They don't want Israel to give up an inch. Not 1 inch in Hebron, not 1 inch in Shiloh, not 1 inch in Shiloh, in Eli, nothing. They believe that every part of the land of Israel must be in the hands of the people of Israel. That they got right. They believe that the physical children of Israel have a covenant with God that cannot be abrogated. Cannot be. All the other Christians believe in replacement theology. The Catholic Church, the largest Christian denomination, the Orthodox Church, the second largest, they believe that you're not Jewish. That means you're Jewish, but you're no longer blessed. The church is the new Israel. They replace you. Therefore, of course, they love to convert you, but you're not. They're the blessing. The church is the new Israel. So you understand, for Jews, this is crazy. We love the Jews, and it's a new technique, and it's working, and it's spreading like wildfire, like wildfire. There are 2 rules about Jewish evangelism. Never forget. Never. Rule number 1. In virtually all cases, the person who's likely to succeed in converting a Jew will be a Gentile evangelical Christian, not a Jew who's already converted. Listen very carefully. I am sure there are some of you here in this room right now who know of somebody personally that got involved in one of these groups. And that's why you're here tonight. Could you imagine that I could say that with confidence in a shul? When I started doing this work more than 40 years ago, I could not. There's such a mageva, I could stand in front of anyone and say, there are people in this room that know somebody personally that got involved in one of these groups. If you ask that cousin of yours, if you ask that next door neighbor of yours, if you ask your uncle, tell me, who was the first person to evangelize you? Who made that initial contact? In almost all cases, it'll be a Gentile evangelical Christian, not a Jew who's already converted. The heads of Jews for Jesus, the heads of Chosen People Ministries, the heads of First Fruits of Zion, the Jews, they're born Jews, right? These people are generally not able to convert Jews to Christianity because Jews are offended by that. We don't want to talk to a guy who has a last name, Shapiro, whatever, Yakovovich. We don't want to talk. We want to talk to Pasquale Armstrong, perfect. Because we don't have a problem talking to a non-Jew who happens to be a Christian. Fine, you're not Jewish, so they have a lesbian, and you're for Israel. We're going to be buddies. We're going to be buddies. Let me introduce you to family. So number 1, in almost all, because I know when you think, Kinderlach, I know what's going in your head. You're thinking these guys are Chosen People Ministries. They're the guys who are converting Jews to Christianity. It almost never happens that way. Never. 2, it's not a professional missionary. It's not going to be someone who's on the staff of Jews for Jesus. The person who makes that initial contact is going to be someone who your sister's going to meet at college, in Brooklyn College. It's going to be someone you're going to meet at the workplace. It's this army of lay Gentile evangelical Christians. These are the people who are successful. And you know what? I don't need the mic because I think you can all hear me. Is that correct? Yes. So we're going to just do that with the mic and put that away. We're all good. Listen, I want you to understand this. This is like the fundamental laws of thermodynamics. In almost all cases, the people who succeed in converting Jews are not Jewish, and they're not professional missionaries. And therefore, listen carefully, what does Jews for Jesus do? What is Chosen People Ministries doing? What are they doing? Sweetheart, Tatala. Not important. There we go. There we are. You know what I did? I turned it off. And now, oh, good, beautiful. You have to understand how this works. What does Jews for Jesus do? Their work is what you will never see. It's not the guys on the streets handing out pamphlets. They don't accomplish anything. They raise money for Jews for Jesus. The people that are dangerous is they go into churches. They go to Calvary Baptist Church in 57th Street in Manhattan, and they train Gentile evangelical Christians how to effectively evangelize their business partner, their physician, their attorney. That's the key. Why? Why do they want to convert us? No, it's important for you to know. I would be remiss if I said to you, they only want to convert Jews. They want to convert everybody. They want to convert the world. But they especially want to convert the Jews. Everybody here heard of Jews for Jesus, right? And I don't even ask you. I know you all heard of them. This is not the first time I heard. Did you ever hear of a group called Puerto Ricans for Jesus? We never heard of this group. Why have we not heard of these groups? Irish for Jesus, we never heard of this. Why? Because they believe that in order for Jesus to make the second coming, the Jews have to be converted in mass to Christianity. Critical. It's based on an obscure passage in the Christian Bible. Moreover, they believe that the fact that the Jews don't convert is a big problem for them. Why don't the Jews convert? You understand how problematic you are to the church. The claim of the church is, it's a psychological problem. The Jews are the people who could read the Bible in its original language. Who can read Hebrew? Only the Jews, right? Who was there in Eretz Yisrael in the first century who would have met Jesus? It was Jews. Jews have a reputation for being fairly clever. Even the anti-Semite never says we hate Jews because they're stupid. Then they'll laugh them out of the Ku Klux Klan. That's ridiculous. So we have people who have a reputation of being a fairly clever people who could read the Bible in its original language. Our great-grandmother was in Eretz Yisrael in the first century, and the Jews said, we wish she was, but unfortunately it's not. And therefore, only the conversion of a Jew to Christianity can lend any credibility to the cross. Before I take your questions, I want to end one last point. It's the question that begs here. Why? Why are we so vulnerable? How do we get into this predicament? It would be very easy for me to stand here before you tonight, and I would really enjoy it. I would get such a kick out of it if we could all laugh and say how wicked and evil Jews for Jesus, and it's all their fault. It would be very easy to do that. It would be very easy to tell you it's them. We could do that with other groups that want to destroy us. Physically, we could say they want to destroy us, period. But here there's a question of why so vulnerable? What's going on here? Make no mistake about it. The success of Jews for Jesus represents the unpaid bills of the Jewish people. It's not an accident that we're living at a time. Let's go back to the United States. The intermarriage rate is so high. Rachmana litzlan. The intermarriage rate is so high. At the exact same time that Jews for Jesus is growing exponentially, mamish, such a great part of Klal Yisrael is being destroyed. You live in Brooklyn. You're living in I'm not telling you something new. You're living in an isolated little bubble here. But it's coming here. It's hitting the Bukharian community terribly. It's hitting communities that are Jews from the East, where it would be unheard of to marry out of the faith. That would be unheard of from a Jew from Persia. Unheard of. And it's hitting us hard. Why? Because people don't know. I was speaking in Fairfax, Virginia. You know what Fairfax is? It's right outside of America's capital. I was speaking at a temple there, and I met a fellow who works for the federal government, as many people live. It's like Long Island is to Manhattan. He works for the Secret Service of the United States. He trains agents in Washington not how to protect the president or other elected officials. He actually trains agents how to detect counterfeit currency, because the original purpose of the Secret Service was to protect American currency. It's the world standard. American currency is the world standard. When Saddam Hussein was fleeing coalition forces, he didn't take pesos with him. He was running around with American dollars. He wasn't going around. So I asked them, how do you do it? You must have, at the Secret Service, you must have, wow, what a collection of fake counterfeit currency you've collected over the years. You've confiscated over the years. You have a pile. Could you imagine what's going on there? So you have these new recruits into the service, the bright young men and women, and they study all the fake money. They become experts in it, and that's how you train. He said to me, Rabbi, that's not the way we do it here. Listen how smart they are. He said, the way we train our agents how to detect counterfeit currency, listen up, we show them real money. We take real U.S. currency, want them to touch it. I didn't know it. American money is printed on a special paper. It's not even made of paper. It's made of cotton. It's made of, I don't know what, the sharpness, I don't know what they make it out of. It's a whole thing of fibers that they make. It has a feel. Has a feel to it. Not only is it very durable, like you do a washing machine and you come out, there's a dollar bill and you can open it up and pull it apart and it works and it still goes. It's not so. These agents know exactly what real money feels like. There's in the paper, whatever that is, it is fibers, blue, red fibers in the paper, in this thing, this schmutz. Look carefully next time, you'll see it. These agents know where it is, what it is. There's fine line engravings in the picture, around the picture, near the picture by Washington's Shaitel. Don't ask this. These agents learn everything there is to know about real money. Listen up, Kinderlach. Listen up, my holy sisters. Why? Because if you know what real money looks like, you know what it feels like. If you know the real thing, if someone tries to put a counterfeit in your hands, you'll know right away. What am I saying to you? Am I suggesting to you that in order for you to protect yourselves and those that you love from chosen people ministries, maybe we should all become experts in the New Testament? We should know Matthew Balpeh. We should know all of Luke's epistles and apostles and epistles. You're wasting your time. Know the real thing. Know this. Torah Hashem Timimo. The Torah Hashem is perfect. It alone is Meshivas Nofesh. It alone could restore the soul. Eidus Hashem Ne'amono. The testimony of Hashem are trustworthy. Machkimas Pesi. It makes the foolish wise. We're going to see Mashiach very soon, Kindlach. I want to say this to you, sweethearts. Listen. Be quiet, listen. I know that I'm speaking from an audience that is predominantly Orthodox. I'm going to tell you something that my father, he should be, always told me. We have a special responsibility. It's very easy for you to walk around and say, I'm an Orthodox Jew. You would never in a million years find bacon in my house, never. And you would never in a million years find chametz in my house on Pesach, never. I know. And you must feel a certain sense of confidence in that you're Orthodox Jews. Most part you are. If you're not, please don't be offended. I'm just talking from my heart to you. You have to understand there's a very big responsibility you have. You have to understand this. You have a big responsibility to warn the world. We have a whole chapter in the book of Ezekiel 33 that tells us that if people are frum and they don't carry out to bring back the Shiftei Yaakov, they're going to have to pay for it. That's why Yechezkel has to lie on the side for 180 days, going back in chapter 4. It's really, Tanakh is delicious. Milim is a big responsibility of being a frum Jew. You want to stay here with your fancy glatt kosher, shmatko, all these things, it's all terrific. But you know there's a big achrais you have to all of Klal Yisrael. It's the role that you have, Isaiah 49, verse 5 and 6, not only to be an Or Lagoim, a light to nations, but to bring back the tribes of Jacob. And we're going to see it soon, quickly in our time. Thank you so much for having me tonight. Thank you so much. If you enjoyed this program, please like and subscribe.
אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא ועת נעשה בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא עובד